Hello everyone, today I will share my interview with the Chinese American Museum of Chicago. I spoke with Laura Lee, a multimedia artist and curator working on a project, Anna Chen, a SAIC faculty member with an ongoing show, and Judy Sohu, the museum's marketing manager. My first impression of Chinatown was the monumental sign reading 天下为公, means equity and integrity. The ancient Chinese proverb emphasized the importance of equality and justice. In contrast, a faced a distant, well-dressed Chicago loop on the horizon. And you can observe how the community subtly transformed its surroundings with the symbols like dragon and phoenix, and architecture style after crossing half of the world have become part of the Chicago Chinatown. The collection in the museum are mainly divided into two categories. The first category is historical artifacts, such as props used in the traditional Chinese festival, priceless antique furniture that has been passed down to the United States, the early folks' culture items, and relics. The second category includes books and archives documenting the history, experiences, and custom of Chinese Americans. This collection featured major events like Chinese Exclusion Act, as well as everyday items like food maps. So based on the interesting geographical location of Chinatown, when I interviewed the show curator Laurie Lee, I first asked about the location. Wanted to know the historical significance or reason behind Chinatown's position, which is neither too close nor too far from the downtown. Early explained that Chinatown's location is its second site. It was located in downtown Chicago near the Loop and the Board of Trade. However, city's founders, displeased with the image of Chinese immigrants near the transportation hub, forced a relocation through what can be described as a form of gentrification. He said that Chinatown's survival was partly due to the racist law like Chinese Exclusion Act. His great-grandfather lived there then, and his family has been in Chicago for over 80 years. He asked about the past and present struggles of Chinese Americans, as I wanted to understand how history has shaped the lives of people now and then, and how we can assess a forgotten histories through the voice of those affected. Laurie Lee shared that Chinatown, born from xenophobia, holds a special place for him. As he grew up nearby, he sees Chinese American Museum as a chance to move beyond stereotypes and highlight the evolving culture heritage of the community, which continues to grow despite its history. Lardy also noted that reconnecting Chinatown to broader ideas of self-determination and empowerment makes sense, as it reflects how public perceptions and relationship with China have evolved. He discussed the ongoing struggle of Chinese Americans to reconcile their identities, saying that Chinatown represents the long fight of survival and opportunity. Despite the promise of Gold Mountain, many didn't strike rich, and Chinese Americans still face the challenge of being seen as prisoners. I then interviewed Anna Chen, the show artist, who explains that her work explores landscapes viewed from the sea. The title On Ground reflects the shifting nature of the water, which landscapes she sees as a dynamics and ever-changing, often redrawn repeatedly. I then asked my most curious question: where does their funding come from, and how does a small historical museum survive in a place like Chicago? Because I wanted to understand the underlying power structure behind their narrative. Judy Suhu explained that the museum, opened for 20 years, was funded by a few key donors, and the museum opened in 2005 and started in 2003 and faced setback from a fire and then two major Chinese donors in Chicago have been crucial supporters. And when the interviews come to an end, the interviewees had gathered together after knowing their history and present situation. My last question was about their vision and expectation for the future of the museum. When asked about growth, the response was clear. Larry Lee said, "I want the Chinese museum to be bigger. Specifically, I'd love for them to buy the One Cool restaurant property on the Surma. It is on a major street and would give the museum great visibility." Finally, aside from the interview, I'd like to share some insider tips about Chinatown. This might encourage you to visit the Chinese American Museum of Chicago while you are there. And one highlight is the hot pot restaurant called Happy Little Limbs on the far right picture, which offers free meals on your birthday, provided you bring a friend. And I went there with Hygiene for my birthday in March, and the limbs was amazing. And that's it. Thank you guys.